here we go. New book, new music, same low-effort intro. Let's have some fun. Of course, we'll begin with the Ninja no Chigiri. I am Ninja. My parents are the heaven and the earth. My home is my body. My power is loyalty. My magic is training. My life and my death is breathing. My body is control. My eyes are the sun and the moon. My ears are sensitivity. My laws are self-protection. My strength is adaptability. My ambition is taking every opportunity with fullness. My friend is my mind. My enemy is carelessness. My protection is right action. My weapons are everything that exists. My strategy is one foot in front of the other. My trust is in Quan. My way is the way of the tiger. Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Way of the Tiger. Tonight we get to start book 3. Usurper, I believe, is the title. Yes, and oh, I hate it when it does that. And there is our classic cover picture. I'm going to have fun making a video thumbnail out of that. Looks like he's fighting some kind of large winged devil-like creature in, I want to say, a temple. A very golden temple, but with dark, shadowy recesses. It's probably not even the biggest monster in the book. We have a familiar map. Of course, the Island of Tranquil Dreams is somewhere down over here. Where are we? Fort, what was it? Goblin's Tooth Mountains, Giraffe Glen, and the fortress, Fort Doomov was up here, wasn't it? And of course we had lots of adventures between these two locations in books 1 and 2. The map has now been expanded to show more parts of the world, and that's okay. Also, courtesy of the soundtrack, I got the music for the 3rd book. Yeah. Let's get into the background. I'm going to skip over any familiar gameplay rules to speed up the intro. But I don't want to miss out anything important. Also, this book is a bit of a weird one because we randomize our stats every time we die. On the magical world of Orb, alone in a sea that the people of the Man March call endless, lies the mystical island of Tranquil Dreams. Many years have passed since the time when, as an infant, you first saw its golden shores and emerald rice meadows. A servant brought you, braving the distant leagues of the ponderous ocean, from lands to which you have never returned. Your loyal servant laid you, an orphan, at the steps of the Temple of the Rock, praying that the monks would care for you, for she was frail and dying of a hideous curse. Monks have lived on the island for centuries, dedicated to the worship of their god Quan, he who speaks the holy words of power, supreme master of unarmed combat. They live only to help others resist the evil that infests the world. Seeing that you were alone and needed care, the monks took you in and you became an acolyte at the Temple of the Rock. Nothing was made of the strange birthmark shaped like a crown which you carry on your thigh, though you remember that the old servant insisted that it was of mystical importance. The most ancient and powerful warrior monk of them all, Naijishi, Grandmaster of the Dawn, became your foster father. He gave you guidance and training in the calm goodness of Quan, knowledge of men and their ways, and how to meditate so that your mind floats free of your body and rides the winds in search of truth. From the age of 6, however, most of your time has been spent learning the way of the tiger. Now you are a ninja, a master of the martial arts and a deadly assassin who can kill the most powerful enemies, unseen and unsuspected. Like a tiger, you are strong, stealthy, agile, patient in the stalking of prey, and deadly. In the land of plenty and the man march, the fabled ninja, known as the men with no shadow, are held in awe. The mere mention of ninja strikes fear into people's hearts, but you are one of the few who worship Quan and follow the way of the tiger. You use your skill as a bringer of death to rid the world of evildoers. At an early age, you were hung by the hands for hours on end from the branches of trees to strengthen your arms. You ran for miles, your light-footed speed enough to keep a 30-foot ribbon trailing above the ground. You trod tightropes as agile as a monkey. Now you swim like a fish and leap like a tiger. You move like the whisper of the breeze and glide through the blackest night like a shade. Before he died, Naijishi taught you the ninja's covenant. I will vanish into the night, change my body to wood or stone, sink into the earth and walk through walls and locked doors. I will be killed many times, yet will not die, change my face and become invisible, able to walk among men without being seen. And those among you who've played the Fabled Lands computer game might recognize some of the achievement names from the Ninja no Chigiri, or from the full Way of the Tiger Ninja no Chigiri that I've included in the intro. The ones to do with assassination, stealth, infiltration, spying, that sort of thing. It was after your foster father Naijishi's death that you began to live the words of the Covenant. A man came to the island, Yemun, Grandmaster of Flame. Using borrowed sorcery, he tricked the monks into believing that he was a worshipper of Quan from the great continent. He was indeed a monk, but he worshipped Quan's twisted brother Vile, who helps the powerful to subdue the weak and wicked men to rule fools. Yemun slew Naijishi. No one could match him in unarmed combat, and he stole the scrolls of Ketsuin from the temple. Once more you knew the pain of loss, for you had loved Naijishi as a father. You swore an oath to Quan that one day you would avenge his death. As chronicled in the books Avenger and Assassin, you used your skills as a hunter and a bringer of death to avenge the killing of Naijishi, your spiritual father. You tracked his murderer Yemun, Grandmaster of the evil monks of the Scarlet Mantis, to quench Heart Keep in the shadow of the Goblin's Teeth Mountains. A ranger Glevas brought you across the endless sea on his ship, the Aquamarine, and you landed at the city of Doomover in the Man March. You travelled hundreds of leagues through the wilderness, crossing the mountains of Vision at Fortune Pass, where you were forced to kill Olvar the Chaosbringer, a berserk barbarian. Thence you journeyed to the Sea of the Star, to Draf Glenan, and now to Quench Heart Keep. Yemun had stolen the scrolls of Ketsuin, which hold the secret to the word of power which would bind your god Quan in Inferno. 2 other powerful and evil men had joined him. Each knew another such word of power to bind a god or goddess in the lake of boiling blood for eternity. Beset with dangers, you stalked your prey to Quench Heart Keep, a stronghold of evil near the Goblin's Teeth Mountains to the north of the Sea of the Star, where, in storm and darkness before the red moon, you took the lives, or so you thought, of Yaemon, Mance the Death Mage, a reverencer of Nemesis, the most evil, the most powerful of the gods of evil, and Honoric, leader of the dreaded Legion of the Sword of Doom. With his dying breath as he lay drenched with rain and sweat at your feet, Yaemon told you that he killed your true father, whom you never knew. When your god Quan spoke to you, and you knew that you had been chosen by him to fulfill a glorious destiny, for it may be that you will one day join him in the Garden of the Gods. But the malice of the gods of evil beats down upon you still, and your return to the island of Tranquil Dreams was not an easy one. The trials of your journey are still fresh in your mind. Your narrow escape from Quenchheart Keep, the desperate flight across the Man March, and the terrible struggle with the Mardol, son of Nil. Your adventures on the Island of Plenty, where you fought a great battle against the ninja that followed the way of the Scorpion. There was great feasting and celebrating when at last you regained your homeland, the saviour of the lands of men. On the next day you rested, until the Grandfather of the Dawn came to your cell, obviously the new Grandfather of the Dawn, not the old one who was slain. He told you that Honoric still lived. He has sworn vengeance. He survived even the blood of Nil, though he was near death for some weeks. Word has just reached us that the Legion of the Sword of Doom prepares once more for war. With these skills and weapons at your disposal, you are now a ninja warrior and ready to take a step in the way of the tiger. But enough of this. You cannot bear the cares of the world on your shoulders at all times. Come. There is a little left that I can teach you. But what I can, I will. Tomorrow I will tell you something that has been hidden from you. The time has come for me to tell you who your parents were, who you are, you who have become Avenger, the most deadly warrior of them all. Special rules for Book 3. This, right here, is what I was referring to earlier. So yeah, let's see. Book 3. I played Book 3 once in 1991 or 90... No, wait, no. It wouldn't have been 91. In 1992 or maybe 1993. Quite probably early 93. Then I played it again in 2008. I don't think I've touched it since, so hopefully I won't remember too much, and it will be interesting. Unlike the first books, which I remember quite well. I do remember a nice little encounter from book 3 or 4, a nice little detail. I don't know if we're likely to come across it in this book. We'll find out later on. If you have not played and successfully completed Book 2 Assassin in the Way of the Tiger series, then you begin this book with the equipment listed. If you have successfully completed Book 2, then you should continue with the same character. Simply transfer all the information on your original character sheet to the one given here. This has already been done. You will have regained 5 shuriken, and your endurance and inner force will have been restored after your rest at the Temple of the Rock. We have been here for some time, and resupplied. There we go. You also continue Book 3 with any special items you may have picked up in your journey to the Island of Tranquil Dreams, and do not forget to transfer all your punch, kick, and throw modifiers to your new character sheet. Also our fate modifier, yeah. You have also gained much experience in the Way of the Tiger in your previous adventures. Because of this, you may have improved your martial arts skills through constant use. Roll one die and consult the table below. The result is the number you may add to your modifier in the category given. I've always read this as you roll once and take the result of all 3 columns. You don't roll once for for all 3 rows. So you only get 1 column. Pray you don't roll a 1. 4 and 5 is the sweet spot. Because this is in this book and not at the end of book 2, if we die and start again with our end of book 2 character sheet, we get to re-roll here. Let's see what we get this time and hope it's not a 1. A 5! Oh, that's one of the best ones. Throw and kick. Excellent. I mean, that's just really good. +2 to our throw modifier might have been very nice as well. But I'm quite happy with these results. Combat rules. Higher than defense to hit. And oh, it's not lower than defense to... No, it's equal to or lower than defense. So yeah, it's a 1 point difference. So if my defense is an 8, an enemy attack would hit on a 9. If I block, an 8 or less. Hang on. Blocking has changed. No, equal to or greater, yes, so I do need to roll under defense. Yeah, so a normal attack would hit on a 9. If I try a block, they'd hit on an 8. So they still get a +1 bonus to hit me on the block. But the fact that they're re-rolling is inviting... look, if they re-roll and hit me again, so what? It's just as bad as it was before, right? It's double the chance to miss. It's not double the chance to hit. They're not going to hit me twice, you know. So blocking depends on how much damage the enemy's doing, what their chance to hit me is, how desperately I need to not get hit. So it's not something to use constantly. It is a sort of last resort kind of thing. We have the skills, as before. And you'll note that at the end of the last book, we were not instructed to learn a new skill as we had been at the end of book 1. Obviously, when it comes to the Blood of Nil, you usually carry 1 dose of the most virulent poison known on Orb, but you have already used it in book 2, Assassin. This venom is extremely difficult and very dangerous to collect, for it is taken from the barb of a scorpion son of the god, Nil, mouth of the void. And then we're straight into section 1. So, let's enjoy our adventure tonight. You walk beside the Grandmaster of the Dawn across the red-hot sands to the Temple of the Rock. The tiger heads on the great golden doors stare balefully as you mount the marble steps. Their eyes, priceless fire opals, glower redly. Oh, their eyes, priceless fire opals, glower redly. The Grandmaster says, "The temple is to lose its most powerful protector." You start and lay your hand upon his, but he continues, "Not I, not I. It is you, Avenger, who must leave us once more." You're about to protest, but you cannot shirk your destiny, so you wait to hear the Grandmaster's revelations. The temple doors swing open before you. The young acolytes bow, and you proceed into the cool half-light of the temple. As you pass between the tigers' heads, the birthmark on your thigh tingles suddenly, and you instinctively cover the crown-shaped mark with your palm. The Grandmaster speaks. "The firstborn of your family for 4 generations have carried the mark of the missionary king. Your father was called Lawmaster Seged, and he was overlord of a great city in the Man-March, Irsmuncast, the last stronghold of men before the rift, which men call the bowels of Orb. He was one of the wise synod, the lore-masters of Serakub, but he became a missionary carrying the word of Quan the Redeemer into the Man-March. He became the high priest at the temple of Quan in Irsmuncast, and in time, through his wisdom and fair-mindedness, he became king. He ruled benignly and well, and was beloved of all, save for reverences of Nemesis, the supreme principle of evil, and the riffraff of thieves and cutthroats that gather in any great city. But when the monks of the Scarlet Mantis wished to build a temple to Vile beside the temple of Avatar, the one your father of Avatar the One, your father opposed this. He was a great martial arts warrior, but he met his match and died at the hands of Yaemon, Grandmaster of Flame. So I named you aptly Avenger, for you have already avenged your father's death, but now you must take back the crown which is rightfully yours. You must cast down the cruel usurper and rule in his place. The Grandmaster hands you your father's seal, which bears the mark of a hippogriff on a checkered background. I'm noting that down in case we're not instructed to do so later on. I'll call it the Royal Seal. And because this PDF is heavily protected, I can't add bookmarks to navigate it more easily, unfortunately. But I know nothing of the ruling of men, you protest. Nevertheless, says the Grandmaster, you have proven yourself to be powerful even amongst the most powerful of an orb, and it is your destiny. If anyone can right the wrongs inflicted by the usurper on the poor people of Irsmuncast, it is you. Quan will guide you, and I will teach you what I can, not of statecraft, your own wisdom must guide you there, but of the way of the tiger. You may learn another of the skills which you have not yet learned, or I can teach you one of the two skills now known only to me. Shinren, the training of the heart, or the martial skills of Yubijutsu, nerve striking. Shinren, the training of the heart, will allow you to hone your instincts so that you may read people like an open book. You will learn the language that the body talks, understanding what a person is thinking by observing their mannerisms and the way they breathe, the roving of their eyes and their stance. You will be able to understand a complicated situation at a glance and act appropriately, see any opening and take any chance that appears. In addition, you will be able to endure heat, cold, wind, rain, hunger, thirst and pain. Control all your feelings even more than before. Yubijutsu is the most deadly skill known to the monks of Quan bar Koppo Jutsu. Bone breaking. Yubijutsu is the martial skill of nerve striking. You will learn how to maim and kill with even quite light blows to vital nerve centers, a technique especially useful when beset by many adversaries at once, or against a formidable human foe, like Honoric. Okay, well, in all honesty, my biggest autistic obsession is trying to understand people. It's empathy. You know, that thing that autistic people are really bad at. So I obsessively try, which means I do a lot better than most people on the autistic spectrum at trying to empathize with people. But that doesn't mean I'm necessarily very good. But it does mean that the skill of Shinren really appeals to me. Yubijutsu sounds like it's mostly going to be a combat thing. Like a combat technique we learn. That won't necessarily be a move option in combat, just like a sort of dice modifier. Although it sounds like there will also be important situations where it can be very useful. However, I have gained some good combat modifiers. I'm up to +1 punch, +2 kick, +1 throw, and even +1 fate. I'm quite happy with that, and the Shinren skill just really appeals to me. Or instead I can just say I don't want either of them, I'll just go for it. I'm going to go for Shinren. It's what I did on my original playthrough. And actually, because that's interesting, when glancing through book 6 or 7, like, well, 5 or 6 years ago, I saw situations where the hero had clearly been tricked by enemies. Perhaps Shinren prevents those instances. Yes, I'm thinking of Lady Foxglove trying to seduce Avenger, and then using him to do things that he shouldn't, or, manipulating him. So I'm taking Shinren not to protect myself from those bad things, but for all of the situations. Look, if I need to be a good ruler, right? A king. The Grandmaster will not teach me of the art of statecraft, but he will, because he's teaching me Shinren, so we'll go with that. It will be a very useful skill when dealing with diplomats and people who come saying, like, my neighbour's stolen my goat and things like that, and you've got to work it out. The Grandmaster of the Dawn says, "A good choice, Avenger. I will teach you all I know of Shinren, the training of the heart. You spend many weeks in his company learning the secret knowledge. He has iron control of his emotions, can walk barefoot over glowing coals, and, at the end, you both fast for 20 days without feeling hunger. You had never suspected how little details of the world where you hold your head, or when you blink, gave so much away about your heart. Now even the language of the body is known to you, and you can read people's hearts at a glance. It pleases you to note that most of those who live on the island of tranquil dreams are honest and open, hiding nothing. Note that you are an adept in the skill of Shinren on your character sheet." That I shall. Interestingly, why don't you guys let me know how many of you would have chosen Shinren and how many Yubijutsu? And maybe some of you would have just chosen another combat skill. Go on. Sharing is caring, after all. After many weeks, your new training is over and the Grandmaster of the Dawn summoned you to the temple. In the meditation room, you let your spirits roam free together and your mind is wafted away by the ethereal wind. The Grandmaster travels with you, and, to your surprise, you see that his ethereal form is that of a smiling young woman crowned with a halo of burning silver. He leads you onward. You gasp a milk-white, smooth-skinned hand. He leads you onward. You grasp the milk-white... No gasping here. We have learned emotional control, after all. He leads you onwards. You grasp the milky, smooth-skinned hand and hold on tightly, knowing that without the Grandmaster's guidance you could drift helplessly. The skills of the ninja cannot aid you here. The Grandmaster of the Dawn points ahead to a gleaming archway beyond which a silver pathway stretches up into the clouds. Cherubs flock around its pillars, and a guardian angel, flawless and white, stands before them. "This is the gateway to the seven heavens," says the Grandmaster. "We may not enter yet." As he speaks, a sinuous form takes shape on the silver road. It glides past the guardian angel, and as it approaches, you see that it is a perfect tiger, but her fur is white and her eyes are blue. The spirit tiger is a servant of Quan, and as she looks at you, she passes on a part of her knowledge in the form of a warning. The evil gods are angry, and in your struggle against the Usurper, Quan may not help you. You must triumph through your own sagacity and strength of hand. Just as the spirit tiger is turning away, she pauses to look into your eyes, and you hear her voice in your mind. Although the great Redeemer will not aid you directly, I am his servant, and I will strive to protect you from the malice of the gods of evil, for they are summoning fell creatures from the lower planes to thwart you. With that, she is gone, and you are swept up in the ethereal wind, returning at last to the temple where your mind rejoins your body. I will remove Quan redeemed me once from my notes. I should ditch my book 1 clues, probably in book 2. There we go, just... no, we'll leave it there, it's fine. We have our little note on book 3 errata here, section 304, Tor is 21, not 121. Good to know. Here we are. You know what must be done, says the Grandmaster in his usual form once more. You must kill the Usurper and have yourself proclaimed rightful king of Irsmuncast. Evil forces are abroad once more in the Man-March. The time has come for you to seek your new home. We do not expect to greet you on this peaceful island for many a long year. There is no feast to mark your going. You are to travel alone, incognito, so that the Usurper will not know to set defences against you. You bid the Grandmaster of the Dawn a sorrowful farewell, and a spice trader bears you towards the Island of Plenty once more, where we indeed stayed in the previous book, and we need to be careful not to be recognised. We have allies there, but we don't want to tip off the enemy that we are coming. This is a stealth mission after all, for we are ninja, obviously. The journey is uneventful, and you spend most of your time meditating and exercising, preparing yourself for the trials you know will soon be upon you. During our meditations, let us look at the map and find where Irsmuncast is. Well, there's the rift. Grey Guilds on the moor. Irsmuncast's nigh edge is there. So we're Island of Plenty is like down here somewhere, isn't it? So we've got a way to go, quite a way. There will probably be a ship involved. The spice trader takes you across the sea to the southern tip of the Island of Plenty, to the port of Eiger. Now you will have to travel north to the port of Lemne, and take ship from there to the mainland of Orb and the Man-March. As you travel northward through the rich and bountiful fields, you reflect on how peaceful the land has become since your last visit. The Shogun of the Island of Plenty, Kiyamo, has obviously been hard at work since you last stayed with him. A few days later you are nearing Lemne when you come to the road that leads to the palace of Kiyamo in the mountains, and you decide to pay him a visit. He is an old friend, and he may be of service to you in your quest. Soon you are at the gates of Kiyamo's palace, which lies in a shallow valley between two peaks. You tell the gate guards, 2 samurai warriors in red lacquered armor, that you are Avenger from the Island of Tranquil Dreams, and that you wish to see Kiyamo. You wish to see the Shogun, Kiyamo. Presently you are led into a long chamber of polished wood. Armed samurai line the walls. Kiyamo sits cross-legged in front of a low table. Beside him stands Onikaba, his chief advisor. If you have played Book 2 Assassin, and you helped Kiyamo by stealing into the camp of the evil daimyo Jikyu and killed him. We did not. We saved the peasant girl instead. That may become a problem in the future. Actually, if I go look at the old sheet, looks like I saved the peasant girl last time as well. So be it. Kiamo and Onikaba are pleased to see you and thank you for ridding the Island of Plenty of one of the ninja of the Way of the Scorpion. You tell Kiamo of your quest, and he says, "Your destiny is indeed great, Avenger. I will give you a ship to take you to the mainland." And he orders that a ship be prepared immediately. He says, "May fate smile on you," and Onikaba and an escort of 10 samurai lead you to the port of Lemne. Onikaba turns to you, and you thank him before boarding the ship that awaits you, the Sea Dragon. The captain asks you where you wish to be taken. Will you travel towards Doomover and thence to Irsmuncast for more direct route, or to Tor, where Glavas the Ranger Lord lives, and thence to Irsmuncast? This is section 304. Glavas the Ranger is a friend. We should visit him. Also, for more direct route, the Usurper doesn't know we're coming. If we take the more direct route, that doesn't mean that the Usurper will learn we are coming, but there will be more opportunities to do so, and when we have arrived, the Usurper will be more likely to know what route we took, what items we may have gained, what allies we may have met. Let's go visit our old friend Glavas the Ranger. And just to totally prove section 121 is wrong, let's go look there first. Yeah, as soon as you pull out the dagger of rune, it begins to glow brightly. Yeah, no, that's something completely different. At last you sight the estuary of the river Greybones, and the ship glides past the harbour of Ilvontor, and up and on up the winding reaches towards the great city of Tor. There the sailors moor on the grain wharf, and you instruct them to trade their cargo and buy another before they set sail for the Island of Plenty, pretending that they are merchantmen. Indeed, it makes us look less suspicious. Tor is a huge city of 500,000 souls, and you know that your friend Glavas the Ranger lives on Temple Street. You make your way there, passing, as you do so, a church of Vash Ro, the god of mortal combat, and another to Moraine, the god of empire. Glavas himself reveres the All-Mother, but his townhouse is beyond the temple to Votar the One. If you have the skill of Shin Ren, we do indeed. That was just a yes-no, not a do you want to use it. All the way down here to section 473. It doesn't go as high as 473. Alright. Let's go back to section 21 and see what I got wrong. 407. Okay, that we can reach. As you are passing a run-down pottery factory, you notice that the casual stance of one of the idling potters is feigned. Instead of dreaming of better days, his eyes are taking in every detail of your face, as if committing your features to memory. You travel on, betraying no signs that you have noticed this attention, but as soon as you round the corner, you peer through one of the cracked quartz windows into the potter's workplace. A small statuette, hidden away in an alcove where no normal man would spot it, catches your eye. It is the effigy of a figure in a quilted black leather jerkin and tight black velvet trousers and executioner's hood. It has 4 arms and one hand holding a crossbow, and the fourth, a small black box. It is the likeness of the god Toramalku the Slayer, swift, sure bringer of death to beggar and king. You have stumbled across the Assassin's Guild of Tor. You hurry on down the Temple Street and push open the wrought iron gate that surrounds a beautiful but wayward-looking garden, a haven of nature in the busy city. The figure of Glavas is framed in the doorway. And we should remind ourselves that in Book 2, in the city of... it wasn't Doomover. Now so we're up here, right? Ulrichshaven. Below Ulrichshaven, Harif Siva Crow, east of Harif Siva Crow, is the place where we gained the enmity of the Assassin's Guild. The Assassins of Toru Malku the Slayer have been hired by Honoric, the commander of the Legion of the Sword of Doom, to slay us. If one of their agents is here and has made note of us, that doesn't mean it's anything to do with the Usurper, but we should still have a care. For now, though, our friend Glavis is here, and they won't have had time to... The assassins won't have had time to replace him with a impersonator. Here we go. Glavis is bidding farewell to a woman of perhaps 100 seasons. Oh god, seasons. Let's see. 12, 24... 48. Oh, so like... 96. She's like 9 years old. She is short-haired, but her face is made up with rouge to look like a doll, or perhaps a small child. No, seasons, not months. Yeah, so she's like, what, early 20s? That makes more sense of the picture. She is short-haired, but her face is made up with rouge to look like a doll, or perhaps a small child. Your eyebrows rise in surprise, but then you realize she is a priestess of time in the guise of the youngest son. You step aside from the path, and she bows, then sweeps out into the street. Glavis smiles and beckons, but does not greet you by name until you are seated before a peat fire in his parlour, in private. You tell him that your unlooked-for... You tell him of your unlooked-for new mission, and he tells you in return what he knew of your father. He was, he says, not a man who sought greatness, but one who suffered greatness to be thrust upon him for the common good. He was a wise and popular ruler, enlightened but no despot. Many in Irsmuncast still grieve for him. When he has told you all he knows of your father, the Lawmaster, you say, I asked you once in your fair ship, the Aquamarine, of the cities which lie beyond Tor on the Greybones River, but you would not speak of them. I ask you again, only because I have chosen that course to approach the city of Irsmuncast without exciting suspicion. Glavis sighs heavily and then asks you into his study, where a large bureau is full of valuable scroll maps. He pins several out on a felt-topped table, showing you new lands of which you have never heard. One shows a new continent named the Lands of No Return. Another, the Forest of Fables. Another shows the islands beyond the Clashing Rocks, called the Fangs of Nadir. I think we get to go there in Book 4. And yet another, Southern Lands. What a great name. Glavis gives you another finely crafted map showing the Greybones River, the Man March, and beyond the Rift. You notice that the position of the city Ulrichshaven has been changed on one of the maps. You produce the map which Glavis gave you on the Aquamarine. Ulrichshaven is in the wrong place. Scribing error, says Glavis, shrugging, and goes on to ask you which way you plan to travel. Wait a minute. Book 1. Map. Ulrichshaven is up there. Yeah, it's not. It's right. Okay, so Ulrichshaven is up there. Book 3. Map. Ulrichshaven is not up here, as it was marked in Book 1, but down here. So there it's marked, yeah, practically opposite the strand. Here it's clearly not, and this is where it was in Book 2. I like the fact the author has addressed the fact that it's been moved. Probably to fit on the map better. or maybe the publishers messed up the location on the map and like wrote it in the wrong place, and they sort of did a new map to either way, it's still funny. An in-game lore explanation for an out-of-game blunder, presumably. Werewolf. Not tonight. Honoric. Oh. Wait. We can fight Honoric in this book? But I think we fight him in book 5, don't we? Maybe it's like a ghost of him who's summoned, or an illusion or something. Anyway. Glavis agrees that you stand the least chance of being discovered if you travel to Irsmuncast along the River Greybones before turning north, but cautions you that the dangers are so great that you might never live to see that city at all. In which case... I'm just making a note in case he gives us more important clues here, right? It is plain that he has suffered some personal hurt which has to do with that part of Orb called the Valley of the Lich Kings, but what he tells you of it is enough to explain his reticence on the Aquamarine. As he speaks, the sky darkens and it begins to rain heavily, the water drumming on the roof slates. His face looks pale in the gloom as he tells you that two beings calling themselves immortal rule over that valley. Each keeps his own court, one in the walls of shadow, a city whose walls always shed an unnatural darkness beneath them, no matter how bright the sun, and the city of the runes of doom. He mutters a prayer to the All-Mother as he speaks the name. The city of the runes of doom lies on the banks of the Greybones itself, and for more than a millennium its tyrannical ruler has been the Fleshless King, a necromancer who discovered the awful secrets of half-life after death. A skeletal being kept alive only by the power of his arcane magics and the daily sacrifice of a virgin to his god, Death. The people of the city are fed by slaves, forced to till the fields by... Fed by slaves? Interesting. Interesting turn of phrase. It might not be as literal. It might be like, that the population of a city is made up, more slaves are just added to the population as they die. Just people captured from a surrounding area, The people of the city are fed by slaves, forced to till the fields by cruel orcish overseers, and the walls of the great Cathedral of Death are dyed the purple of putrefying flesh. Glavis says that he will guide you through the Valley of the Lich Kings, and you set out together in the morning. Now, setting out together in the morning sounds like a good place to stop the episode, actually, to be honest. Well, a good narrative point. I'm not entirely sure about episode length, but you know what? This one's probably been long enough with the intro at the beginning of the book, so I am going to leave this episode here. I will write in section... Oh. Where was I writing section on the old character sheets? I think right at the bottom, which could get confusing with the errata. But... Okay, book 1. Section... I must have really tidied up the old sheets, okay? Book 4. Section right at the bottom then, okay, fine. Apparently there's a popularity rating at some point in book 4, maybe even book 3. Right. Old sheet. Don't know. Okay. I'll just write it at the bottom then. We don't need the errata anymore because we've encountered that section. It seems to be the only one. There we go. So I'm going to leave this episode here. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and I do look forward to seeing you all in the very next one. I'll say goodbye for now and cheerio everyone. See you all soon.